Hello everyone, this is Jeff Twardowski with You Be Successful. In this video, I'll show you the changes we make to put our application on a Domino server, and we will process a change request to the application. We only have one assumption for this video. You've been following along in the previous videos and have your application up to this date. Let's get started. Welcome back to our problem and answer application. Let's look at application changes so we can place our application onto a Domino server. Return to the Domino Designer and edit the problem and answer form. People's names change for a variety of reasons. Imagine empowering the Domino server to update usernames in our application whenever the Domino administrator makes a name change in the Domino environment. Just to be clear, if we don't allow name changes through the Domino administration process, we may be required to find an alternate method to keep this information up to date. My thought, don't write a process that already exists. Select the author field, change the type from text to name. Preview the form and notice that nothing changed on our user interface of the application. To complete this process, go to the left and right-click on Problems and Answers. Select the application, select Access Control, select the tab on the left titled Advanced. Notice at the top we have Administrative Server. For this to work, the Domino application has to be on the Domino server. Select the Server Radio button, then select the drop-down box to see our servers. Make sure you select the server where the application resides. In my case, I'm selecting Demo Dom 1. Notice it defaults to Do Not Modify Name Fields. Our additional choices are Modify Reader and Author Fields, and Modify All Name Fields. Set the action to modify all name fields. When the Domino administrator goes through the administration function to rename a user, an event is created in the admin P database to go through various system databases and rename the users. A task is triggered on every system to perform the rename functions. This rename will change the users and groups, access control lists, person record, reader, author field, and other places. For this task to work on our application, first we must define the administrative server, which we've already done. Next, we change the depth of the rename function within our application. We have selected Modify All the Name Fields. You'll find that administrators like to set the administrative server on the server applications. Even if names for authors and readers fields are not modified, the access control list can be kept up to date with this function. Again, if automation doesn't keep this up to date, it will become someone's responsibility. The next change we require is to modify the access control list. To get to the access control list, click on the Basic tab on the left. Every environment has its specific settings based on security concerns and support capabilities. Because I clicked on the Advanced button and set the administrative server, we see our server with a key on the icon when we clicked on the Basic tab. This key lets us know the server has been designated as the administration server. The attributes on the right are for the administrative server. Access is set to manager, so the access control list can be modified as needed by the admin P process. What are the other entries? I created this application so it added me as manager access and the type of person to the access control. In this system, my name is admin. Managers can change everything about an application. In some environments, the developers are moved from the HCL once the application has been moved into production. This ACL change prevents the little changes in production that go untested and break an application. Default is set to no access when the database is created. Default is any user who's been authenticated with the system but doesn't show up in any of the access control entries or groups related to this application. If we made the default entry author and checked the Create Documents attribute, everyone in the company would be allowed to use this application by creating a document and editing their documents. Because I did not select the Delete Document attribute, they would not be allowed to delete anything from the database. If we wanted to provide them the ability to delete, we would select the Delete Documents. Author access can edit their documents. While I didn't cover this in this program, we would have to put an author field on the document. Be cautious with some of these entries, such as depositor. Depositor allows users to create a document in the application, but doesn't allow them to read the document they created. We had an application to conduct surveys. Default access was set to depositor, and users were creating their surveys. Because of the depositor access, users couldn't see their survey documents. Imagine the help desk call from an irate user who created 27 surveys but still can't see their work. Reader access is useful for information the user needs to read but not allowed to change. For example, the editing of HR policies should be limited to HR personnel. Therefore, HR would be author or editor access, while the rest of the company would have reader access. Editors are allowed to create documents and edit any document in the application. Slightly different than author, authors are only allowed to edit their own document. If you want to provide delete capability, you'll need to select the delete attribute. Designers are allowed to change the design of an application, plus anything an editor could do. Designers won't be allowed to change the access control list. Manager access is allowed to change everything, including the access control list. Very select few should have manager access to a database. I recommend either developers or administrators or both. A typical user can do too much damage being a manager of their own application. Change default to no access for now. Local domain servers is a group in the address book that includes all the servers in your Domino domain. Providing local domain servers with manager access allows the servers to update things such as the access control list and documents and other replicas of the application. Other domain servers is another group in the address book that includes servers of other domains. Other domain server groups control the connections to other domain environments, whether it's a sister company or a vendor that provides specific services to your environment. For now, set other domain servers to no access. Once this application goes into production, do I want to manage the application? Let's add local domain admins to our ACL. Local domain admins usually consist of your Domino administrators. I've always been hesitant to allow others such as management into the group without proper training. Many people believe that if they can click on a button, they should. I once had a director run payroll early because he was in the local domain admin group. Select Add. If you know the exact spelling of an entry, you can type it here. My recommendation is to always use the little person icon and look up the Domino directory entry. Why is this important? Missing the entry by one letter could be the difference between providing users access into the application versus no access at all. One environment I worked with had two John Smith. First one spelled Jon, second one spelled John. One worked in legal, the other worked in finance. Imagine selecting the wrong one. Let's scroll down to local domain admins. Select local domain admins, select Add, select OK. Notice they got Manager Access. In this case, we wanted them to have Manager Access. What controlled which access new entries get? The new entry gets the access of the entry that is highlighted when the Add button is clicked. For example, if we were on an entry that had author access, then local domains would have come up with author, and we would have had to change it. What type of group is this? This is a person group. After giving someone else control of the ACL, I can change my access to designer so I don't have to worry about accidentally changing the ACL. However, since I am the admin of this environment, I will leave myself as manager. At this point, I believe the application is ready to be put on the server and tested by the user department requesting this application. Additional groups may be added to this application, but I feel this may be better conversation between department users, the Domino administrators, and the developers. Our application should be ready to run on a server. Our application's been running on a Domino server for a while. As with most applications, changes have been requested. In fact, several changes have been requested. Logging the identity of a user, marking the problem completed. Collecting the date the problem was completed, preventing the user from changing the date, create a view of completed documents. Lastly, email the originator of the problem with the answer. These seem like reasonable requests, so let's make it happen. Open up the Domino Designer, open up the problem and answer form. The form already has a completed date that the user can edit. There's no guarantee that the user will put in a date it was completed. Let's think this change through. We want a method that will add the username to this form, change the completed date to the form to today, and while we're at it, change the status to completed. So let's start making changes. Select the date completed row, right-click and select Insert Row. Select the priority label and field. Press Ctrl-X to cut the label and field. We get the message, this operation cannot be undone. Do you wish to proceed? Before we move ahead, let's brief chatly what this message means. In Domino Designer, if we make a mistake, we can press Ctrl-Z to return to the previous state. This message is simply telling us we cannot use Ctrl-Z to back out our changes. If needed, we can utilize the copy and paste or the cut and paste to return to our previous configuration. Select Yes. Move up one line. Press Ctrl-V to paste the label and the field to this new line. We get the message, this operation cannot be undone. Do you wish to proceed? Select Yes. You wish to paste Save Table across the cells of this existing table. Because we selected multiple cells to be copied and pasted, we get this message. If we select No, then a new table is created within the cell. By selecting Yes, the cell contents will be pasted across the cells. To see this work, select Yes. Move to the right. Add User Completed as a label. Move to the right. Add a field, CompleteUser. Remember, the field names do not have spaces in them, so make them one word. Change the type from editable to computed, or computed for display. Both will work in this case. Computed attributes require a formula. In this case, we will use the field names in the computed formula. Select the check mark to validate the formula. Select CompleteDate and change the field type from editable to computed. Change the style back to Note Style. For our formula, let's use the field name again, CompleteDate. Select the check mark to validate the formula. Select the two complete cells, right-click, and select Table Properties. Select the third tab, change the style and color to match the other cells, pink. Remember that pink was our calculated area, so they don't have to do their input. Notice the line. The inserted labels and fields are closer to the top rather than centered. Select the 4 cells. Right-click and select Table Properties. Change the vertical alignment from top to center. Notice how everything is centered vertically in the table cells. Save the form. We would like to automate the completion of the problem and answers. Let's accomplish this by creating a shared action, then adding it to the form. Select Code, select New Shared Action, change the name to Complete, select OK. Here's the formula we're going to use to automate updating the fields when clicking on the Complete action. Look for this formula down below. First is the command FileSave. We perform this function with the if statement to check field validation on the form. If all the validation is successful, we move to the next part. If we have a failure, then we will fall through the if statement and return the user to any validation message they have to correct. If the validation is successful, then we set the complete date to @now. Remember, @now returns both the date and time. We change the field status to completed. Change the completed user to the user's name that pressed the complete action. I will demonstrate both methods to set a field value with the formula language. The first method is setField. The second method uses the field keyword. Both functions perform exactly the same, except the field keyword method is a hard-coded field name. The @set field uses a variable for the field name. In this case, we put the completed date within parentheses so the name exactly matches the field on the form. Where this comes in advantageous is on forms that have an array of fields. For example, var1, var2, var3. We could utilize a for loop to process through each variable name to update them at once. While 3 variables could be hard-coded or looped through, looping through 100 variables would make future changes easier. A change request was to notify the originator of the problem with the answer. Use the @mailSend function to send an email. Go to Help and review the parameters. Send to, copy to, blind copy to, subject, remark, body fields, and flags. The remark is the first component in the body of the email message. Body fields follow the remark in the email message. Notice we have several flags: sign, encrypt, priority high, priority normal, priority low, return receipt, delivery report, and IncludeDoclink. IncludeDoclink is probably the most commonly used attribute. It will add a doclink of the original document into the email body. This makes it easier for the user to go from the email back to the original document. Let's review our mail send command. First, using the author field content as the destination, we want to deliver the email. The following 2 sets of double quotes represent the copy to and the blind copy to parameters. The subject line will include the word problem plus the title from the problem and answer document. The email body will have the words problem ticket completed, click Doclink to see ticket. Also included in the body will be the solution to the problem. We also include the doclink so the user can return to the original document. Lastly, we save the document and close the window. Save the action. Return to our problem and answer form. Let's make one more change. Let's prevent the user from changing the author name on the form. Select the author field and change the type from editable to computed when composed. Let's change when the action can be seen. Hide when document is in read mode. Save the action. Go to the problem and answer form. Right-click on the action pane. Select Insert Shared Action. Select Complete. Select Insert. Let's drag the complete action to the bottom of the list. Select Done. Save the problem and answer form. Let's test our new action. Open one of the active documents by selecting Edit P&A. Let's add an answer to this document. With a click of a button, we will see the user completed information, the date completed, change the status to complete, and send an email to Bill Smith that the problem ticket has been completed. Select Complete. Notice that our document moved from active to completed. When we open the document, we notice that my name was added to the user completing the problem. The date has been changed. The status has been changed to completed. Let's step through the entire process. Select Create P&A. Change the category to IT. Change the priority to 1. Add the details of the problem. Select Save and Close. The dialog box is validating, checking that we have a title in the document. Select OK. Let's check that our validation also works when we select the complete action. Enter the answer to the problem. Think of this as documenting reference material for future problems. Select the Complete button. There's our validation check again. Enter a title so we can test the Complete button. Notice when we select the Complete button this time, everything functions as we expected. Look for our document. It is located under Completed. Let's take a look at our email, and if we received a message, there's the email from Problem and Answer Database. Notice the subject started with the word problem, then added the title. While we got the remark portion of the email and the Doclink, we missed the answer. Clicking on the Doclink takes us back to our problem document. The problem document does include an answer. Go back to our Domino Designer. Go to our shared action. Open Complete. Let's look at the mail send command and see if we can identify the issue. The message was sent to the author, so that's good. The subject line had the word problem in the title of the document. The remark portion of the command was in the body of the email along with the Doclink. Seems that the only portion missing was the solution. But wait, our field wasn't solution. It was answer. Change solution to answer. Let's test the application email again. Create a problem and answer. Fill in the form. Select Complete. There's the document in the completed category. Return to our email. Look in the body of the email. It has the answer we added to the problem document. One other change that was requested was a view to see who is completing the documents. Let's create another view. Is one of the existing views close to what we need? Click on the view, then select by status. Use Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. Right-click on the new view and select Rename. Change the name to By Completed. Select OK. Open the view. Our first column is categorized by status. Select View Selection. Select Add Condition. Select By Form. Notice we have the form, problem, and answer. If this application were more complex, we would have multiple forms in this database. By selecting this entry, the view will only process the data collected when using this form. While we don't need this right now, let's do it anyway. Select Problem and Answer, then select Add. Let's add another condition. Select by field. We want to see documents whose status is set to completed. For the field, select Status. Leave the condition as contains. Change the blank value to completed. Select Add. Save the view. Preview our new view by completed. We are off to a good start. We want this view to show details about who completed the problems. Return to the Domino Designer. Change the column title Author to Resolver. Change the column field from Author to Completed User. Select the second tab and change the type to Categorize. Drag the column resolver to the first column position. Remove the title and set the width to 1. Remember how we changed the colors earlier? Go to the third tab and select an appropriate color and increase the font size. Remove the second column by selecting it and hitting the Delete button. Select Yes to permanently delete the selected column from the view. Save and preview the view. We can see the tickets the admin completed. The not categorized tickets were marked as completed, but we didn't use the Complete Action button. Remember, this is during our application design part, so sometimes we may have documents that we have to clean up. We can see the title, category, and create date. Makes more sense to see the completed date. Return to the Domino Designer. Select the Create Date column. Change the title from Create Date to Completed Date. Change the column field from Create Date to Completed Date. Save and preview the view again. One last thing, do we care about the time the document was completed in this view? Let's edit the view one more time and select the completed date. This time go to the fourth tab. Change the style from General to Date and Time. Notice a lot more information about date and time is being displayed. We can display the date. We can display the time. In this case, remove the check mark from the display time. Close the dialog box and save the view. Let's see how our view looks in the Notes client. I keep looking at this color and I don't like it. Let's make a quick change. This situation is where having a standard color chart would come in handy. It would prevent me from guessing which color to use. Save the view and preview again. I like this color better in this view. We have completed the request for the change to the problem and answer database. We can see who is answering which problems. We can double click on the document and see the contents. You have created your first program, including a request for a change. My favorite part of this application is that it will run on the HCL Nomad environment, phone or tablet without any modifications. I hope you're able to take this idea and expand its usage. We just scratched the surface of the capabilities within Domino. Your imagination will allow you to see the power of what HCL Domino and Notes can do for your organization. Go out and explore what HCL Domino can do, and let us know what you discover in the comments below.